Welcome children. Take out your civics book. Local self-government, rural local institution. Today's topic is Gram Panchayat. The composition, tenure and functions of a Gram Panchayat may be studied as follows. Now, composition, tenure and function of Gram Panchayat, they are as follows. First is the composition. The members of the Gram Panchayat are elected by the Gram Sabha. Now the Gram Sabha, they elect the members of the Gram Panchayat. The Pradhan is also called the president, and the vice president of the Gram Sabha are the ex officio members of the Gram Panchayat. So who are the ex officio members of Gram Panchayat? They are the president, Pradhan, who is the president or the vice president of the Gram Sabha. They are the ex officio members of the Gram Panchayat. Only those persons can become members of the Panchayat who have attained an age prescribed under the Act, whose names are registered as voters in the Panchayat, who are mentally sound and who are not disqualified under any law made by the state legislature. Now, the members who can be the persons who can be the members of the Panchayat, they are as means who has attained the age as prescribed under the Act, the names whose has been registered as voters in the Panchayat, then the person who are mentally sound and the persons who are not disqualified under any law made by the state legislature. Panchayat does not mean that it will have only 5 members. The number of members varies from state to now Panchayat. It doesn't mean that there will be only 5 members in the Panchayat. But instead the members varies from state to state. The state government determines the number of punch according to the population. Now state government, what they determine? They determine the number of punch according to the population of the village. Under the new act, in all the Panchayat seats would be reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Now, under this new act, what happened? In the Panchayat seats, they are reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes in proportion to their population. Moreover, 1/3 of the total number of seats would be reserved for women. Moreover, 1/3 of the total number of seats, they would be reserved for the women. Women's representation will soon be raised to 50% of the total number. Now, women representation, it will be soon raised to 50% of the total number of seats. Now, tenure of the Gram Panchayat. The new Panchayati Raj Act proposes that every Panchayat should have a uniform 5-year term. Now, new Panchayat Raj Act, what it proposes? That every Panchayat, they should have a uniform 5-year term. In the event of the dissolution, election would be compulsorily held within 6 months. Now, in the event of this dissolution, election would be compulsorily held for 6 months. Meetings of village Panchayat. The Panchayat usually meets once a month. Now, usually once a month, the Panchayat the meeting is presided over by the Sarpanch. Now, the Sarpanch presides over the meeting. All the decisions are taken by majority vote. In the event of a tie, the Sarpanch has a casting vote. Now, majority vote are taken. Majority vote. All the decisions, they are taken by the majority vote, and in the event of tie, the Sarpanch, he holds a casting vote. Powers and functions of the Panchayat. Earlier, the functions of the Panchayat were placed under 2 categories. Now, previously, the Panchayat functions were placed under 2 categories: obligatory function and discriminatory function. But under the Schedule 11 of the Constitution, the Panchayat have been entrusted with many. Now, under the Schedule 11 of the Constitution, Panchayat, they are entrusted with many, they are given many responsibilities. Their main functions are, now what are their functions? Civic facilities and welfare function. What is the civic facilities and welfare function? This include provision of safe drinking water, which involve construction and maintenance of public wells. Now, what does it include? That includes provision of the safe drinking water. It even involves construction and maintenance of public well center. Second comes the public care facilities, for which Panchayat set up dispensaries and health center. Now, second comes the health care facility. In it, Panchayat set up the dispensaries and even the health center. Then third comes arrangement for primary and secondary. Now, third comes the arrangement for primary and even the secondary education. Upkeep of roads, footpaths and culverts. Good drainage, street lights, welfare of expecting mothers and their babies. Is launching welfare program for women, youth and children. Now upkeep the road, footpaths and culvert. Now good drainage system, street light, welfare of expectant mothers and their babies. Then launching welfare program that is which is meant for women, youth and children. Developmental function. The developmental activities include minor irrigation scheme. What does it include? What it includes? Includes minor irrigation scheme, preparation and execution of the agricultural plan, then rural electrification, vocational education, cottage and small scale industries, including the food processing industry, that is rural housing, and welfare schemes for weak and the handicapped sections of the society. Regulatory and general administrative function, that is the administrative functions are, what are the administrative functions? They are registration of birth, deaths and marriages. Now what are the administration? They are the registration of birth, deaths and marriages. Then comes maintenance of watch and what services. Then third, collection of records and statistics, maintenance of common property of the village, then helping the government in maintaining law and order. Judicial function, that is an important function of the panchayat is to secure speedy and inexpensive justice to the villager. Now important function of panchayat, what is it? It is to secure speedy and even inexpensive justice to the villager. At some places panchayat itself acts as a court. Now some places what happened? Panchayat itself acts as a court, whereas in other state Nyaya Panchayat is a separate institution. Other places what happened? Nyaya Panchayat, it is a separate institution which only administer justice. In Uttar Pradesh there is a Nyaya Panchayat for each block or group of villages. Now Uttar Pradesh what happened? There is a Nyaya Panchayat for each block or a group of village. The jurisdiction of Nyaya Panchayat it varies from state to, and the jurisdiction of this Nyaya Panchayat, it varies from state to state. However, a panchayat tries only petty civil cases relating to movable property and minor offences. Panchayat, what it does? It only tries for the petty civil suits which is related to movable property and minor offences. Offences such as petty theft, trespass, unauthorized occupation of public places, cheating and assault fall within the jurisdiction of a panchayat. Now, what does this minor offences include? It includes petty thefts, trespass, unauthorized occupation of public places, cheating, assault fall within the jurisdiction of a panchayat. The panchayat have no power to imprison a person. They can only fine up to ₹1,000. Now panchayat, they have no power to imprison a person. It can only charge a fine of ₹1,000. Sources and income of the panchayat. Now what are the sources of the income of the panchayat? The main sources of income of the panchayat are: panchayats have the right to levy taxes on property, land, goods and cattle. Now Panchayat takes taxes from the property, land, goods and cattle. Panchayat collect taxes on sales of goods in fairs and mixed-use bazaars market. Now Panchayat collect taxes on sales of goods in fairs and even mixed-use in the bazaars. Panchayat can construct buildings like Bharat Ghar. Panchayat, it can even construct the building that is like Bharat Ghar and rest houses and get money by renting them out, and even collect money and even build rest houses and get money from renting them out. A part of the land revenue collected from the state government is given to the panchayat. Now some part of land revenue which is collected by the state government, it is given to the panchayat. Another source of income of the panchayat is the fine imposed on the offender. Now another income of panchayat, that is the fine which is imposed on the offender. Panchayat get grants from the state government. In each state a finance commission has been finance commission has been established to determine the principles on the basis of adequate financial resources which would be ensured for the panchayat. The panchayat, what they get? They get the grants from where they get? They get the grants from the state government. Each state, a finance commission is set up, and this finance commission, it determines the principles on the basis of the adequate financial resources for the panchayat. Now supervision and control of the state government. The Panchayat functions under the control of the state government. There is a director of Panchayat in each state, and there are several officers at the district and tehsil level who supervise the working of the Panchayat. Now, in the Panchayat there is a director in each state, and many other several officers are there at the districts and tehsil level. And these people, what they do, they supervise the working of the Panchayat. If a Panchayat is found to be incompetent or defaulter, it can be dissolved. Now, if the Panchayat, it is found that it is incompetent or some defaults are there, then the Panchayat is dissolved. Panchayat can be dissolved. But in the event of dissolution, an election will be compulsory held within 6 months. But in this event of dissolution, what happens? Elections is compulsory to be held within 6 months. The accounts of Panchayats are audited by the government, and the accounts of Panchayat, it is audited by the government officials. Now, take out your diary, write civics, Gram Panchayat, explain 2 pages, 3 pages explain, and homework, revise it. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.